Today I am making red cabbage cake. I came across this recipe and thought I would share it with you. The ingredients are 1 1/4 cups all-purpose flour, 1 1/2 cups shredded red cabbage, 1 cup sugar, 2 tablespoons apple juice, 2 large eggs, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon cinnamon. If you want to use salt for this recipe, it's 1/2 teaspoon of salt, but Grandpa and I don't use salt when we cook or bake, so I eliminate it. But you could put in 1/2 teaspoon of salt if you like. This recipe calls for a food processor, but I am going to use my blender instead. The first step is to puree the red cabbage. So now I'm putting it in my blender. Cover it. Now the next step is to add the sugar, the apple juice, and the eggs. And now we have to mix this up, blend this together. I'm adding the oil. Now we have to add the baking powder and the cinnamon to the flour, and we have to whisk it together. So this is a very easy cake to put together. Now we have to add the flour into the blender. Put the top on. Now we're going to pulse the ingredients all together. Okay, so this should be all done now. Looks like it's all done here. A nice purple or lavender color. I'm preheating my oven to 350 degrees, and for the baking pan we had to grease and flour an 8-inch square baking pan, line the bottom with parchment, and spray with cooking spray. So that's what I already did. So now I'm going to pour the batter in here. I'm anxious to see what this will taste like. I never had a red cabbage cake before. I do like red cabbage, especially in my salads. Now I'm putting the cake in the oven, and it has to bake for 30 to 35 minutes. And then when you take it out, you have to test the center to see with a toothpick to see if it comes out clean. The buzzer went off. It's been 35 minutes, so now I'm going to check the cake. Wow, it looks nice. It grew very good. And now I'm going to put my cake tester in the middle and see how if it comes out clean. Yeah, it's fine. It's done. I put the cake on a cooling rack, and I'm going to let it cool for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I'm going to turn it onto a plate, and then we'll be icing this cake. I just took the cake out of the pan, and now I'm removing the parchment paper. So you see, it's nice and easy. We're going to let the cake cool a little bit more before I ice it. These are the 2 ingredients to make the frosting. 1 1/2 cups of Greek yogurt and 3 tablespoons of honey. All we're going to do is put the Greek yogurt in the bowl and add the honey, the 3 tablespoons of honey. Now I have to whisk the honey and the yogurt together. And that's how easy this is to make the frosting. You just have to whisk it for a while. The frosting is all done. I just put it on the top of the cake. I decided I didn't want to put the icing on the sides. So it's all done now, ready for a taste test. How's it taste, Grandpa?
Let you know in a minute, Ma.
Looks good.
Tastes good. If you didn't know with red cabbage in here, you couldn't taste it. The icing is delicious.
Well, this would be a perfect cake if you have children that don't like vegetables. You make this, they'll never know that there's red cabbage in here. I want to give you an update about the red cabbage cake that I made yesterday. After Grandpa tasted it, I put it in the refrigerator overnight. Today we took it out and we each had another piece. It was even much better than yesterday. The icing has a more cream cheese consistency. It even tastes better. The cake tastes, I think, even better than it did yesterday. So I just wanted to tell everybody, if you make this, it's much better the next day.